ready to dive into a story wilder than fiction.
Always up for a good story. Lay it on me.
We're looking at Melvin Williams.
Melvin Williams. Okay.
He went from, well, notorious drug kingpin to a community activist.
Wow.
And then even, get this, an actor on The Wire.
Really? On The Wire?
Yeah, The Wire.
Yeah.
It's quite a journey.
Yeah, no kidding. That's a heck of a path.
Yeah. How does someone navigate that, right?
It really makes you think, doesn't it? I mean, his story is practically ripped from the headlines of The Wire itself.
Exactly. The drug trade's impact, communities caught in the crossfire,
Right.
people struggling within that system. It's all there.
It's all there.
And that's what we're going to untangle today.
Sounds good.
We got a Wikipedia article all about Williams' life and career.
Okay, Wikipedia.
Paints a pretty good picture, actually. The thing that gets me, the scale of his operation. Millions of dollars.
From heroin. Millions. Wow, it's almost unbelievable how someone goes from an ordinary life to, a drug lord.
Right.
He was born in 1941 in Baltimore.
In Baltimore, yeah.
His dad drove a cab. His mom was a nurse's assistant.
Really? Nothing in his early life that screams future drug kingpin, huh?
Not really, no. Makes you wonder what leads someone down that road. What were the circumstances?
Yeah, like was Baltimore itself kind of a breeding ground for these stories?
I mean, it's possible.
And that brings us to another key player, Ed Burns.
Ed Burns, okay.
A Baltimore police investigator, heavily involved in the Williams investigation early 80s.
Oh, wow.
And here's the kicker. Burns later became a writer and a producer.
No way.
On The Wire.
On The Wire. Get out of here.
Yeah. See how deep The Wire goes? Real life experience fueling the show.
That's incredible. So they weren't just making things up. They were drawing on real events.
Real events, real people.
Wow.
But for Williams, those investigations, well, they spelled his downfall.
Oh, I bet.
Arrested in 1984, cocaine trafficking. And then boom, 34 years.
34 years.
That's a long time.
That's a lifetime.
To think about your choices.
Yeah, you'd have to do some soul searching, that's for sure.
But even in prison, they weren't done with him. The IRS, they hit it with a massive tax assessment.
How much are we talking here?
Over $425,000.
Ouch. Talk about adding insult to injury.
Right. But here's where things get interesting, I think. Behind bars, we start to see a different Williams. He gets really into the law, to the point he's helping other inmates with their cases.
Interesting. Was that genuine, do you think? Or just trying to work the system?
It's hard to say, right.
Mm-hmm.
But it shows a complex mind at work.
Definitely. And speaking of complex minds, you know David Simon, the creator of The Wire.
Yeah, of course.
Back in '87, way before The Wire, he wrote this 5-part series for the Baltimore Sun about Williams called Easy Money, Anatomy of a Drug Empire.
Whoa. Talk about foreshadowing.
Yeah.
What did Simon see in him, even back then? Why was he so drawn to his story?
Well, I think Simon was fascinated by the paradox of Williams.
The paradox.
Yeah, the intelligence, the charisma, but also the ruthlessness of, a drug kingpin.
It's like a real-life Jekyll and Hyde.
Exactly. And Easy Money wasn't just a superficial look at a criminal.
Right.
It went deep into the drug trade, how it worked, how it affected people, communities.
That's what Simon does so well, right? He dissects things.
He does, yeah.
Exposes the underbelly.
Makes you think.
Makes you think.
Yeah.
It's like Easy Money was almost a trial run for The Wire.
Yeah, I see that. Honing his craft, getting a deeper understanding before tackling it on a bigger scale.
Exactly. But back to Williams. In '96, after serving part of his sentence, he's released on parole.
Okay. You'd think after all that time he'd be ready for a fresh start.
Right. But sadly, that wasn't the case.
Really?
Yeah. 99, just a few years later, convicted again. Another 22 years.
Wow. It's like he couldn't escape that life no matter how hard he tried.
It really highlights how tough it is to break free from that environment, even with intelligence, even with maybe a desire to change.
Absolutely. It makes you think about the lasting impact of those years in prison,
Yeah, like did they harden him, make him more cynical, or was there still a part of him that wanted something different?
It's a good question. A really good question.
And it's one we'll explore further when we come back.
It's easy to focus on Melvin Williams as this almost mythical figure, right?
Yeah.
But to really get his impact on Baltimore, we got to look deeper.
Deeper, okay.
Beyond the headlines, into the fabric of the city itself.
I see what you mean. It's like his story, it's woven into those struggles Baltimore faced.
Yeah.
Poverty, addiction, institutions just not working.
Exactly.
He became a living example of those problems almost.
It's interesting, right? Because his own journey kind of mirrors this shift in thinking
A shift. About what?
about drug policy, criminal justice reform. Society started realizing that just locking people up, it wasn't the answer.
It wasn't working.
No, rehabilitation, helping people reintegrate, that became the focus.
Giving people a real shot, a second chance.
Exactly. And that's what Williams was all about in his community work,
Correct.
right?
He wasn't just talking about it, he was out there doing it.
Think about his role in The Wire as the deacon.
Okay. The deacon?
Deeply involved in the drug trade, but then uses that experience to steer young people away.
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of like a parallel to Williams's own life?
It's like the writers were blurring those lines on purpose.
Maybe.
Using his transformation to look at the drug war, the impact on people.
It makes you question things.
I bet it makes you think.
Can someone like Melvin Williams actually change after everything?
Can they do good after causing so much harm?
It's a tough question.
And based on his actions after he got out, the answer seems to be yes.
I mean, he really did dedicate himself to that community work, trying to fix the damage.
But I bet some people still saw him as a symbol of, a bad time for Baltimore. Yeah. The drug epidemic left its mark.
It did, yeah.
Hard to forget that.
It brings up that question of forgiveness, accountability.
Yeah.
Can we forgive someone who profited from something so destructive? Can they ever really make up for it?
Tough question.
Really tough.
And what's interesting is Williams never hid from his past.
He didn't.
He kind of owned it, used it to teach others, to warn them.
I think maybe he saw it as a way to atone, to make amends for what he did.
And then there's The Wire. It played a role too, right, in how people saw him.
Oh, for sure. David Simon was fascinated by Williams long before the show even existed.
This true?
That series he wrote back in '87, Easy Money, that was all about Williams, his rise, his fall.
It's amazing how those early pieces foreshadow The Wire. The themes, the characters, the issues, it's all there.
Simon was already dissecting the drug trade, years before The Wire hit the screen.
And then bringing Williams onto the show, that blurs the lines even more.
Reality and fiction.
Yeah, it's like it shows how committed Simon was to authenticity.
To telling a real story.
And The Wire wouldn't be the same without that, right?
I don't think so.
It's what made it so powerful.
It's real. It's raw.
So we have Simon's vision and Williams's willingness to participate, to share his story, maybe even to find some kind of redemption.
It's like life and art feeding off each other.
And what's crazy is The Wire ended years ago.
Yeah.
But it still resonates. Those themes, the deacon, they still have an impact.
It's a powerful legacy.
It really is the power of stories, right?
Absolutely.
To make us see things, to understand these complex issues.
To give a voice to the voiceless, the marginalized.
Melvin Williams, his triumphs, his failures, they became part of that larger story.
He became a symbol of Baltimore, its struggles, its resilience.
It's like a reminder, even when things are dark, there's still hope.
Hope for change, for redemption.
It's a powerful message. It's like, we all make mistakes, but it's how we learn from them that matters.
It's about growth, about transformation.
And that's what we'll explore in the final part of our deep dive.
We'll look at the lessons we can learn from Melvin Williams, from his life.
What his story means for us, for how we think about crime, punishment, redemption. It's a lot to unpack.
It is, but it's worth it.
So we've gone through Melvin Williams' life, the highs, the lows, drug empire to community activist.
And actor. Don't forget actor.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
On The Wire. What a story. What does it all mean, though? Not just for him, but for Baltimore, for choices, for redemption.
Yeah, it's not a simple legacy, is it? He did a lot of bad, but also tried to do good. It's like actions and consequences all mixed up.
It shows that people aren't just good or bad.
Exactly. Like, Williams shows us that people can be kind, but also destructive.
Sometimes all in the same person.
It's that gray area, Makes you think about accountability, forgiveness. Can someone like him, after everything, truly redeem themselves? What would that even look like? What would convince you that someone had changed?
It's a question The Wire asks, too. The deacon, Cuddy.
Right.
Trying to find their place after years in the game.
Trying to make things right. It's like Williams's journey, in a way.
It is, yeah. The Wire, it uses those characters to show the real struggles.
Reintegration, the system working against you, keeping people trapped.
And Williams, his story might be unique.
In some ways, yeah.
But it reflects a bigger problem.
Absolutely. Think about all the people affected by the drug trade.
With so many.
Both sides doing it and being hurt by it.
Their stories don't always get told.
It's easy to just see the numbers,
Right.
the headlines.
Williams reminds us there are real people behind it all.
Real lives changed forever.
And he shared his story, good and bad.
He did, yeah.
Gives us a look into that world, that human cost. What do you think made him so open about it all?
I think maybe he wanted to warn others.
From his own mistakes.
Yeah, use his experience for something good.
A way to make amends. And we have to talk about The Wire itself.
Of course, of course.
It shaped how people saw him.
For sure. It was like art reflecting life.
Makes you wonder how he felt about being portrayed, seeing his life, even if it was fictionalized, up on the screen.
It's hard to know, isn't it?
Did it give him closure? Or bring back bad memories?
Art can be like a mirror, though.
Yeah.
Reflecting things back at us, making us face hard truths.
It's like his life became this cautionary tale.
About the dangers.
But also a story of hope, of redemption.
That's powerful, especially for people feeling trapped by their past.
Trapped by their choices.
Yeah.
Williams shows you can change, even after messing up.
We can grow. We can transform.
No matter what happened before.
But redemption, it's personal, right?
It is, yeah.
It has to come from inside. What do you think? Can society help make redemption easier? Create an environment for it?
That's a good question. It makes me think we need to give second chances.
We do.
Believe that people can change and have systems that support that.
Absolutely.
Not just punish them.
It's bigger than just Melvin Williams, though, right? Right, it is.
We all have the potential to be better, to do better, to find redemption.
So, wrapping up our look at Melvin Williams, what do you hope people take away from it all?
People are complicated.
They are.
Don't fit into boxes. We should hold each other accountable.
Yes.
But also recognize that people can change. Williams's story, as hard as it is, it shows the human spirit, the power of redemption.
It's about finding a better future.
Exactly.
Well said. Melvin Williams' life, it was a wild ride. Ups and downs, mistakes and triumphs. His legacy is complex.
It is, yeah.
But it shows that we can change, even when things are tough. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope it made you think. Until next time.